See things a little more empathetic and differently, and also women tackle some subjects that men, I do not say that they ignore, but they don't acknowledge their importance.
Hello, welcome Ms. Oana Murariu to ICD Academy for Cultural Diplomacy. It's a pleasure to have you here in Berlin. We'd like to ask you a few questions in order to hear your thoughts about and opinion about cultural diplomacy and related fields. So the first question would be, how would you define cultural diplomacy and what is cultural diplomacy for you?
Thank you for having me here. It's always a pleasure. Well, this is sort of a difficult question for me because I don't do cultural diplomacy every day. But first, when Mark invited me to my first event, which was last year in Skopje, I started Googling, okay, cultural diplomacy, what should I speak about? So then I saw the whole agenda for 2030 on cultural diplomacy, on all the efforts. And for me, it was like the first time when I started to acknowledge about this particular soft power helping worldwide. So for me, cultural diplomacy means finding similarities and finding different things in the culture that fascinate each other in order to bring us close together and to work smoother with one another. For example, last time in Skopje, we had as a speaker the former Croatian president, and his whole talk was about music because he was a musician, and it was the perfect example of cultural diplomacy, how music brings people together. So as I'm a practical person, so I'd like to give examples. It's about how dressing alike or dressing differently brings us together, about how music can unite people, how I know sports like football can unite people. So it's all about soft skills in the things that we enjoy in our day-to-day lives. Oh, it's essential. I'm not saying that because only because I'm a woman and I'm more empathetic and like to sit and talk in order to reach a conclusion and not go to war from day one. But without diplomacy in general, I don't want to imagine how the world would be today. And furthermore, cultural diplomacy is a more sophisticated way of approaching this because it goes down to every human being. So cultural diplomacy through the empathy from one another, from one people to another, not just in political leaders, but in day-to-day people, with the things that brings us pleasure, such as music, such as sports, etc. It is important because without events such as these, people would not know and acknowledge the importance. So if we see results from this, taking it to the next level and having it on a daily basis or quite often as possible, it will definitely ensure improvements in our cooperation between human to human, state to state, etc., entity to entity in general. In Romania?
Yes.
Well, we do host international events and we do I'm talking about day-to-day lives of people and not just people who decide, so politicians. We have all kinds of sports held in our cities, sport competitions. We have all kinds of concerts. We have a lot of foreign students with their particularities, with their way of dressing, with their way of talking, with their way of thinking, with traditions, bringing them from their country and sharing with each other. So on a day-to-day basis, I think we're embracing it without even realizing it. But from a political point of view, we have groups in the parliament, friendship groups from one country to another, and we go and speak at such events like I did today, and we forge relationships with one another that begin from talking about our similarities and both the things that fascinate us from one another. For example, yesterday we talked about how we embrace and kiss each other. In Romania, we embrace, we are very warm, and we kiss twice on the cheeks. In other countries, they kiss 3 times, and our colleagues from the Nordic countries tell us that sometimes they can embrace each other but no kissing. So it's cultural differences, but it was nice talking about it, and at the end we hugged and kissed everybody. So No, this is essential. I know people are saying that the future is female, or that we have to encourage women to be in politics, be more involved in politics, but it's our way of perceiving things, because women have children, because women tend to take care more of the people around there, so see things a little more empathetic and differently. And also women tackle some subjects that men, I do not say that they ignore, but they don't acknowledge their importance. So I wouldn't say that the future is female, but the future is both male and female, 50%, 50% as the world's population and as it is normal. It's exactly what I told you before. So I see that women tend to put everybody at the same table and talk about it, and if you come upset, you have to leave the table at least a little bit with something solved. So it's diplomatic. It's a more diplomatic approach, and they care about the feelings of others, and politics is about feelings as well. Yes, we're frequently talking about quota legislation. Currently there is resistance in Romania and in other countries about this, but it's interesting that the women politicians from all the parties come together on this subject, and subjects that are solely related to some, I don't know, projects for women. It doesn't matter the party, they all come together, and somehow we can push some things on the agenda. We haven't been successful with the quota yet, but there is continuous talk about it, and results don't come overnight, so I'm pretty optimistic about it. These are very hard questions, because I'm more a practical person. I would not know how to answer to these questions which involve a more general approach, and what's it. Some things may happen that we do not expect and cannot control, so I don't know what's going to happen, but as one of my colleagues said before, we are at the lower point since the Second World War ended in relation to conflicts all around the world, so it's not good, and we see that everybody is thinking only about themselves. Every country is thinking only about its interests, and we need to approach it with more understanding of one another. Still, we're talking about it, but nothing's happening, so let's hope for better for the future, but right now I'm not really optimistic. It's not bad. Of course, it could be better. We're fighting for this to be better. For example, I talked today about improving the justice systems. I see a lot of flaws there. I see a lot of attempts to attack the justice system, which would weaken democracy. We have a report on the rule of law that says that we haven't made any progress, and we are at a low point involving the media, freedom of the media. So we have have some improvements and we have some downfalls. We need to work on it, but this involves political will. So some changes need to be made in government, in majorities. We have elections this year, so let's see what is going to happen. This is the part where I would have to say have more women politicians. Yes, this is one of the things that could improve. You have to have people that have diplomatic approaches and accept that there are other opinions other than theirs, that theirs is not the best opinion. They have to learn how to listen, even if they reject it at first, then hear experts and take their advice into account, see how other countries have dealt with certain problems. So basically more analytics, more empathy, and of course this comes with more women in politics. But it's just one piece of the puzzle, more is needed.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time. That's all. It was very insightful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.